Hello everyone, welcome to the Yellow Shirts podcast about sports. My name is Andrea and I have with me my colleague Ana, and today we're going to talk about valuable lessons and competences that we can gain through sports.
The first one is lifestyle, self-care, because when you start a sport when you are a kid and you are for you it's an entertainment, but after it's a kind of motivation and a kind of way to live. It's beneficial for the future, and because when you have this kind of lifestyle, you are making your body stronger even of the past of the years, and after when you're adult you became a stronger person. The next one is teamwork. Is one of the most obvious benefits and more important, because this concept follow many of the through and enter life. Learning how to put aside different and come together to achieve a shared goals is not just something kids need when playing sport. They can use this to approach the school and work in the future. It's so helpful, not just for a team or for when you are playing, it's for the entire life. Like when you learn to play in a team, you can transport this learning to your life, to apply in the work or in the school, even university, and even like in the routine activity in your house or family. Even this help to have a good relationship with other persons in other kind of perspective or different places that you are in your life.
I have leadership. Leadership skills are important on and off the field. They help create championship teams, great work in the office, and most importantly, personal growth. If given these opportunities to lead, the players will become much more confident leading others and develop leadership skills that most kids rarely have the opportunities to learn otherwise. And it could also be as simple as making a different player responsible for warm-up for each practice, or allowing the players to make decisions, or rotating the captain of each team, and this can help them directly developing the leadership part. The leadership is also about taking initiatives and being more confident in your abilities together with the support of your team. It's important, the role of the team here, to get involved as much as they can. And since we talk about leadership, it's also important to know how to follow. It's also incredibly important that players learn how to be led by other people, because if you want to lead the people, you must learn how to follow them also. Having a coach is in a lot of ways similar to having a boss, because the coach is an authority figure that will be giving instruction, praise, and criticize the player. By experience how to follow, the players will learn how to take instructions, how to respectfully question authority, and even patience if they disagree. And when you play a sport, you're expected to listen to the coaches and do what they ask. It can be a mind game for some, but learning how to handle orders is an important part of life. Even if a coach yells a lot, the athlete still has to treat them with respect, and this also goes for the team, and treating each other with respect, get the job done together. This will teach you to be mindful and respectful of those around you, and will give you plenty of lessons as how do you want to lead in the future, as how you would want to lead in the future.
The other one is concentration and focus. When you practice a sport, you have a goal, you have a thing to make. Even it's just like the example of tennis, like make point by point, or just in the training, you forget everything in your mind and you just focus on what you have to do, what is the activity, what is the exercise, and make you just your mind focusing one thing and not to have too many in your head. And also it's healthy because make you forget about maybe problems or situations, and this make you less stressed and just focusing what you're practicing and what is the moment that you're living when you practice a sport. The next one is motivation. One of the phrases of Ralph Waldo is the only person you are destined to be is the person of you decide to be. Is an expert in self-motivation. I think it's the most important. When you have the motivation, you put yourself to making true. When you have a goal, when you have an objective in your mind to follow and to get it, you have the motivation, and that gives you the energy to trying every day and to by yourself to get motivation and make it become true. In that way is the way like the professional players can win gold, a medal, or a championship.
From sports, you also learn about responsibility. This is one of the first places where children start to take on some serious responsibility, like bringing their own equipment or being on time for the practice. The players will also learn that they are responsible for their own actions and for their own improvement, as if they want to improve the game, then it's only up to them to make it happen. The athlete learns to assume responsibility for their acts, showing up in time for practices and matches, giving the best for the team's success, and many other. Another important part is the time management. You're juggling daily training sessions with the demands of studying as well as maintaining a social life, and these are essential for maintaining a work-life balance in the real world. When you join a sport, there are certain responsibilities you must take on, and this includes expectations such as getting to practice on time or attending every game. If a player doesn't do this, then there can be consequences. Any discipline will typically come in a form that sends the message across, like the coach may have the individual run extra laps or instead practice later than the others. Sport holds athletes accountable, which will instantly teach them the consequences that come with poor scheduling or showing up late. The only way to get it all done is basically to prioritize and manage your time efficiently, and this you can learn very easy by sports. Team spirit. TEAM would stand for Together Everyone Achieves More, and as corny as it sounds, it couldn't be more true. A team will always be more successful if everyone's on the same page and the players are all focused on achieving the same goal. One single player that deviates from this and only cares about their own points or other statistics is enough to derail the whole team. Players are learning that their best chances of success will be through cooperation with their teammates, and this is at the same time happening in the court, in the classroom, or even professionally afterwards. You'll also be gaining social skills by interacting with and meeting new people with similar interests, which will carry over into all of your relationships. You will learn how to deal with conflicts between teammates, how to interact with a number of personality types, and even how to get along with people that you don't like.
The next one is regards the rules or follow the rules. And in a sport, every sport have some rules, some way to play. For the participant, it's important, like if you are not following this kind of rules, it's impossible to do like win or practice. So it's a great life skill to learn as early as possible, that not everyone in life revolves around you and your desires, that you need to fit in the play, that the game. The next one is improve, because constantly if you are practicing the sport, even since when you are a child, you are improve, you're like a person with all these skills in the sport, personal and physical. When you start to see this improve, you make more motivation and you make more consistent to practice a sport and to be in a healthy life. The next one is adversity, because life is far from rosy much of the time, and you are bound to be confident with many roadblocks and setbacks, and are out of your own control. What matters is not what is difficult you encounters in your life, is how you react to them. In a sport, are you full of adversity and the art of perfect learning ground for how to battle and overcome difficult in your life. They give a child a thick skin and teach them that while things will occur that are unpleasant and difficult, they are temporary and they have a power to change their circumstance.
And speaking of this, we have the competition and sportsmanship. The real world is a competitive place, and the great thing about sport is that it can teach you how to be competitive in a safe setting. Contending with the person next to you and pushing yourself to do your best is helpful in many real life situations, just like in sports. But through sports, you will gain the ability to push yourself and develop a good drive. Another important part is dealing with the authority. A large part of life, both professionally and academically, is about learning how to handle and interact with authority figures. Whether it's a boss you don't like or a teacher, and you are bound to encounter someone in a position of authority who you simply don't get along with. And sport teaches us that while we may not always agree with those positions of authority, such as coaches or referees, we have to respect the person's authority. And throwing fists or displaying emotional outbursts will not accomplish anything in the sports arena, and it certainly won't fly as progress in the school and in the professional world. We're all different and we have different points of view, and that's a valuable lesson we can learn from sports. There is no better illustration of this fact than the conflict created by a referee's disputed decision. In between throw, there are arms up in horror and continue to protest, and the mature get on with the game, knowing that the referee is only unlikely to change his mind but simply won't. And so just wind your neck in and get on with your job. Show the respect to the authority and do your best for the next time. Connection, we have managing conflicts, and you may think about how on earth do rugby players manage to stay friends after a match in which they pretty much try to tear their heads off each other's shoulders in the pursuit of victory, or why do boxers hug each other after punching each other in the face as hard as they can for half an hour. Everything, it's all because it's all part of the sport, and they know it's not personal. They are there to do their job, each team or each individual. They appreciate that the other guy is just doing it and their job, and no matter how battered and bruised they are left after the match, they keep it in the court and nothing more.
The next one is handle the pressure, because it's a situation like we handle in different situations of our life, and in sport it's the same. Some athletes or sport players have to handle too many pressure of their coach, their boss, or the people for them he play. When it's a team, it's more complicated because you have to win like a team, or like you have the pressure to be a good player, because if you are not a good player you have to continue your career because no one is going to play with you. Handle this situation to keep improve yourself and keep your motivation and keep trying is a good learning for a lifestyle. And the last one is the confidence. In a sport, the make a success is one of the most important thing and best feeling for anyone in their experience. When you win something, you win a medal or you score a goal, is the most happy sensation like you can feel. And when you're a kid, or even when you are a professional player, that gives you more confidence in yourself. Winning is great for confidence, and once kids have tasted that success, they will be more eager to find more of feel all effects on their life.
Okay, my last two are how to win or succeed with class, and how to lose or fail with dignity, which go together. About winning, it's definitely a right and a wrong way to win. We've seen some disgusting acts of sportsmanship from players and coaches on winning teams, mocking opponents, refusing to shake hands, or other forms of horrible behavior, and this should not take place in sports. But good coaches will teach their players how to be proud of their achievements without putting down their opponents. It's more about praising of what you did or what you can do than not what the others didn't manage. And this often involves shaking hands after the game with the referee and opposition players and giving positive comments to each player, such as good games or nice shooting. Although how players act after a game should be the same regardless of a win or a lose. Important is to be happy for how you win the match, to be happy for winning it, but without losing the respect for the team that lost. Well, wanting to win goes hand in hand with accepting defeat, and there is no better teacher than losing a match. A drive for success is sought by every employer, and it is found in all athletes. However, learning to accept loss is a much tougher lesson, but it can be much more valuable. Whether that teaches you to brush off rejection or learn from your mistakes is your call, but sooner or later, most of us will face that in the workplace. You need to learn how to deal with failures, see the mistakes, see the things that you have done wrong, analyze and observe other methods that could bring you better results, and try to improve it and put it into practice for the next time. Youth sports is the ultimate environment for players to experience the emotions and feelings that come from failure and defeat, since there are no long-term consequences of losing. This can be after losing a grand final, being cut from a team they really wanted to make it in, or even missing a game-winning shot. Good coaches will teach players to lose with dignity and respect, and that there is always a learning experience to come out of every loss or failure. Players should always shake hands of the referee and the opponent after every game and not blame the loss on external sources like the referees or the court conditions. One of the biggest things to do after a loss is to first ask the team what they can learn from it, what we should have done differently, where do we need to improve in order to be better next time, and to allow everybody to evaluate themselves the loss. Sports isn't about winning, so losing is a huge part of the experience too. You don't need to hide under your blanket, you don't need to cry into the pillow, you don't need to refuse to come out and ever play again. That self-pitying, it's nonsense, it's not working. You need to dust yourself off, choke back the disappointment and get back on the field to try again. And setbacks are a great skin thickening rite of passage. They teach you that nothing is forever and that disappointments are as fleeting as triumphs, and that criticism, ideally constructive, is there to help you improve. So imagine you have that attitude to life when something's not quite working out the way you wanted, and you just need to see what you can change. It is important to keep your head up and to continue playing sports, because that will help you develop more. This is the episode of this week. We hope you enjoyed it. For the next week, we are going to continue with some more lessons from sports. See you next week. Bye bye.